I'm going to speak in English, which I'm sure you all understand, so I'm the only other person apart from my wonderful singers who can speak in English. So my title is, Should We Engineer the Climate? And I want to state immediately that I'm neither advocating that we do it or that we don't do it. All I want to do is spark your interest. There's many issues around it. So should we engineer the climate? Why would we want to do that? Well, you've already heard about climate change and global warming. This is a forecast of what the climate might be like in the years 2070 to 2100. So probably not a problem for us, maybe a problem for your children, or looking around maybe for some people's grandchildren. It's a long way off. But as you can see, the planet is warming. It's going to be much warmer, and these are average temperatures. So this could mean that some days or some months we get really large extremes. So rather than going skiing in the winter in Norway, you might be going down to the coast to go swimming. So this is one of the things that people worry about. So geoengineering, this is actually not a new subject. We've been doing this for many years. We've been modifying clouds to see if we can make it rain better in certain places. And that goes on even today. So there are many ways to engineer the climate. We can grow trees. We can grow trees, of course, we can grow trees to, if we want more apples, for example. But if we grow trees deliberately to draw down carbon from the atmosphere, then this is a kind of engineering experiment that we're doing with the Earth. We can seed clouds by putting small particles into the atmosphere and making it rain. People have suggested putting giant reflectors in orbit to reflect the sun rays away. Or even fill up little balloons with helium and have a highly reflective coating on the outside, put millions of them up into the stratosphere, and they're all like little mirrors to reflect away the sun's rays and cool the Earth. Other ways to do it, we can pump CO2 down into the deep ocean or into the Earth. These things are already happening. We could also fertilize the ocean by dropping iron filings into the ocean, causing plankton blooms. These draw down CO2 from the atmosphere, and when they die, they sink down into the deep ocean, taking CO2 out of the atmosphere. So lots of different schemes. We also have to think about the engineering aspects of this. So the delivery mechanisms, how do we put this stuff into the atmosphere? And there are a number of suggestions that have been put out. This one on the top right here is a nice picture of the Lofoten Islands, but you might see the landscape polluted, if you like, with large cannons. These cannons are going to fire missiles with sulfur in them high into the stratosphere to create sulfur dioxide and then sulfuric acid, tiny aerosols which will reflect away the sunlight. Other mechanisms, this one down here, these are large kind of ocean pumps. They spray liquid into the atmosphere, whitening the clouds in the lower part of the troposphere. By whitening the clouds, again, we reflect away its radiation. And this one over here is a balloon with a large pipe connected to it, and it's a way of getting material up into the high atmosphere. So these are just some of the mechanisms. Also aircraft. People have talked about putting high-flying aircraft up there and dropping out particles. So the pros of doing this, well, the cost of global warming in the future might be really great. So maybe doing something now might be cheaper. So there's an economic argument for doing it. Some people believe that the Earth is moving towards tipping points. These are points in the Earth system where perhaps points of no return, where whatever we do now, we cannot fix it. So, and this may already be happening, or it may happen in the future, so we might want to do it for that reason. Of course, the best solution would be to reduce emissions, but my personal view is that this is human nature, and we're not doing that. We're not doing that very well at all. So that would be a hopeful and best way to do it, but maybe we can't do that. So geoengineering may actually be a more effective way of controlling the problem of global warming. What about the cons? Well, there are many. So one possibility is we could get unwanted and unexpected consequences. So for example, maybe in the future, Norway gets less rain, and that could affect the energy of Norway. So we might want to put more particles up into the atmosphere to make it rain. If we do that, maybe we'll cause drought in Sweden. Actually, that might be a good thing. But maybe not for the Swedes. They might not like it. So there are problems with that. So countries could act unilaterally. So certain countries might say, well, we've got a big problem, we're going to do something, and this may affect other countries and have bad consequences. And then, of course, there are unscrupulous entrepreneurs or even bad governments. So these entrepreneurs might see profit. So they might do things just to gain money rather than fix the health of the planet. And there are many other reasons too. So just to give you an example of that this is not all fantasy, just last month, a large experiment in the United Kingdom to do a geoengineering test was actually stopped. Well, they decided to stop it to have more conversations with the stakeholders. Essentially, environmentalists put a lot of pressure on them to say, hang on a minute, are you sure you want to do this experiment? Let's have a more talk about it. So my message to you today is really just think about this. It's not just science, it's not just technology, it's not just politics or economics. There's also some ethical arguments. So you can go home and think about, what would you do? Would you want to geoengineer the climate or not? Thank you.